she signed the promissory note. I simply want to be paid in full now that I had to pay for the skip tracing. This loan should have been paid off by now. I'm just asking for the judgment so I can get my money now.
Because I sent her 100 every payday for 200 a month. I am filing for bankruptcy. If she gets a judgment, we have to have it discharged. And I never wanted to do that. Yes, I do want this over.
So does the rest of Longview, Lower Columbia, and Oregon and Washington planets. Idaho, Cali, and Nevada have their own cookie Karens, but few match up to Jeni Quiriconi. This is our third episode of Jeni suing someone, this time an unsuspecting Cabaret Follies friend who borrowed $13 grand and has been dutifully repaying Jeni ever since. Sure, she's missed some payments, and we know Jeni isn't one to ever let her forget that, but friend only owes a third of the original loan amount. Nobody's entirely sure what Jeni's trying to accomplish here, especially in light of the fact that bankruptcy is imminent, which will basically zero out whatever friend still owes Jeni. I think Jeni knows that, but Jeni just wants her day in court, and we want to watch it. Word to the wise, don't ever borrow money or do business with Jeni Quiriconi.
We are here. Plaintiff Quiriconi is asking for $6,000 reimbursement for an unpaid balance stemming from a loan. Is that correct, Ms. Quiriconi?
Your Honor, it was correct at the time of the original filing of this paperwork. Ms. Blevins has continued to make some payments.
Can you please state that value? 4,790.
Okay. 12 cents.
If we go to trial and I enter a judgment on your behalf, it will still be between only both of you parties to get that reimbursement. The court will no longer be involved in getting that money back for you. So if Ms. Blevins is making payments, is this still how you would like to proceed today?
Well, Your Honor, I would like to, with your permission, discuss that because I have not received any documents through the court from Ms. Blevins that in any way would counteract the documents and proof that I have supplied to you, which should include the original promissory note, the scheduled payments, the actual payments, proof of payments. And Ms. Blevins had until a certain date to supply anything to the court. And I've been here to the court several times. I'm at the court now, in your booth.
Well, there is nothing. So there's nothing about the court not submitting it. We saw that you received submitted a declaration, Ms. Blevins, but that's past the date and
right.
Not necessarily financial exhibits that you're requesting, Ms. Quiriconi. So the answer is there are none.
Okay. I would like, the facts are that she signed the promissory note. She failed to keep the terms of the note, as can be shown easily by the payments schedule. No other documents contrary to this exist. We did not do any written amendment.
Ms. Quiriconi, I understand. So let's just stop for a second, because if we are going to proceed to trial, absolutely. Let's go forward with trial. All the parties are here. I'm just letting you know that you have received some payments on the $6,000 that you were originally requesting in your claim. We can proceed forward with trial, the $4,792 and $12 that you are currently requesting. I'm just letting you know that if I enter a judgment, it'll still be you just receiving money from Ms. Blevins. There'll just be a piece of paper that says that that's what's owed. If you want to proceed, we can absolutely go ahead.
It would be something I could take to Superior Court and file there and get a lien judgment against any property Ms. Blevins has. I do not want to do that. I simply want to be paid in full now.
Okay.
I want to wait another 4 years. And I am willing to come down and waive the fees that I had to pay for the skip tracing and for serving the document and the filing fee, everything else.
I understand that this might be a very emotional situation, but let's just try to go forward with it and listen to all the information and proceed from there. All right. So in this situation, I will start first by having Ms. Quiriconi go. She is the plaintiff in this matter. We can listen to any testimony that you may have. When you are presenting any evidence, please refer me to any exhibits that you may have submitted. I do have them in front of me, so I can just follow along with you as well. And then when you're done, if you have any additional witnesses, they can be called. If not, we'll then allow Ms. Blevins to speak her piece on this. And then at the end of that, I will impart a judgment. I just ask that neither party speak to the other party, just speak directly to me, so that way we can remain cordial. I know this may be an emotional situation, but we're here just to handle it as level-headedly as possible and just go forward on the facts of this matter. So does anyone have any questions? Are we able to proceed?
We can proceed as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. All right, Ms. Quiriconi, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, could you please state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Jeni Quiriconi, Quiriconi.
All right, thank you, Ms. Quiriconi. If you could please start with your testimony.
In 2017, while visiting the home of Janelle Blevins, who then lived diagonally across the street from my home, she let me know she was in severe financial distress and was in danger of losing her home. She accepted my offer of a loan to help her make up the balance owing on her home to keep it at a very discounted rate of 2%. She signed a promissory note and made a full payment in November of 2017.
I'm sorry, Ms. Quiriconi. Did you say Teresa Blevins or was this a different individual?
Janelle Blevins. It's same woman.
Okay, so it's just Teresa Janelle Blevins. Okay.
Yeah.
I go by Janelle.
You go by Janelle. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. I apologize. Go ahead.
We were acquaintances. I would never call us friends. We've never been on a girl date. We've mostly associated every couple to every 4 years during a
No.
she failed to make like the second payment, and by my records, which I have based on the evidence of when they arrived, I never went to a default interest rate. I never charged her a late fee. I never increased the interest rate. And because she was having a hard time, I accepted until she got back on her feet $100 payments. However, there were times when several months would go by and she would skip payments altogether, as can be seen in the payment records supplied to the court and to Ms. Blevins. I have gone back and looked through old phones and old documents to find evidence that I text messaged payments with how much was applied to interest and principal for each and every payment that I received. I sent her text messages, thank you for your payment. I would also receive messages when I asked for payments. I'll send it when I can. I just wanted to be paid the way we were supposed to do it. She owes me approximately $4,800 now. I believe that she has probably repaired her credit to where she can get a loan, restructure her her car loan or something maybe, so that she can pay me off and we can be over and done with this. I don't want to have any more. I don't want to charge any more interest. I don't want to have to wait another 4 years till I'm in my mid 70s. This loan should have been paid off by now.
Okay,
I just
all right. Ms.
paid it
Quiriconi,
judgment in favor for $4,800.
all right, Ms. Quiriconi, I'm trying to look at this, trying to look at some of these papers, and I just want to understand, what is the originating amount? It was $13,000.17 and no, $13,017.29, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in 2017, you loaned her $3,017.29, and I see your promissory note, so I understand all the interests and all that stuff. And that was for her to pay towards her home, her mortgage, correct?
Yes, it was supposed to pay off. I think I might have sent you some of the home mortgage documents from
Okay.
Wells showing how much she was behind.
Why do I see on 8/17/2017 from Heritage Bank a $12,992.29
That is
charge?
a bank on that date. That is a document from her bank telling her how much she owed on that date.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so why did you give her a little bit more than what she owed?
Well,
I'm just confused why you gave her $13,017 if she owes
there's
$12,900.
there's that $25 wire fee. A domestic wire fee on 8/17 when I wired the money to her bank from mine. That's why it's $13,000.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And then, okay. And then you have, the next sheet is just you keeping track of all the payment
Every single.
and the interest you keep adding on. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's payments of 200, payments of 300. All right. In the promissory note, when was this supposed to be paid off? When was the original repayment, I guess, duration?
Well, I grabbed the wrong spreadsheet thing, but it would have been paid off by now. Pretty much by this month.
Okay, the installments were supposed to be $200, correct? But you were allowing her to pay in $100 increments after a while.
Yes, most of the payments are $100, the bulk of them. It's very rare that I got a $200 payment.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Please go on. I understand what's happening. Okay.
So, I have proof that she paid when she paid. I didn't bring everything because before the date when I started listing the checks on there, I was using QuickBooks that was in the cloud, and I no longer have access to that.
Okay. Well, I see, I think you've provided a spreadsheet that is
Yes.
very straightforward. I don't think it really matters what database you're using. I mean, I see it in here. I see the payments. I see the interest accruing. I see when she didn't make payments. So yeah, I have that in front of me. Okay.
So, I'm just asking for the judgment so I can get my money now within the next 30 days, as the judgment would say. And so that this can be all behind us. I hope Ms. Blevins wants it to be behind her too.
Yeah. So I just want you to know that. So all it says is that if there's a judgment and nothing is appealed, so if Ms. Blevins doesn't appeal this within 30 days and it's not paid within 30 days, then you can seek enforcement through the collections process. And that's what you are referring to, correct? Because I want you to be aware of what 30 days means.
There are a number of options that are available to me, to include taking this to Superior Court and acquiring a lien. Yes, I could go to collections, but they would take 50 to 60% of it. I would like
There's the personal property of the debtor. Yes, I'm aware of it. I just want you to know what you're up against. So just so you're clear. Okay, yes, you can obviously seek to obtain personal property of the debtor. You can try to garnish for bank accounts or wages. Yes. All of that after 30 days if this is not appealed. Absolutely. So I have that information in front of me. I think it's very straightforward. Thank you for providing this. I see the ledger. I see where we're at right now. I see that we're in almost 10 years after the origination of the promissory note. So yes, I do see all that information. Is there anything else? I mean, I think it's very straightforward.
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, and once again, when Ms. Blevins is done with her testimony, I'll give you an opportunity to add anything else if you need to. Okay, Ms. Quiriconi?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Blevins, go ahead and well, first, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the whole truth during this proceeding?
Absolutely, I do.
All right, Ms. Blevins, could you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
My name's Teresa Janelle Blevins, Blevins. We've communicated throughout the last 7 years regarding this regularly. Anyway, and we do a production of Cabaret together every 3 years.
The Cabaret Follies of Lower Columbia are back for another year at Longview's Columbia Theater.
Anyway, okay, we're not friends. Why would you give an acquaintance $12,000 for one thing, or $13,000 for one thing? Every time I fell behind, it was with her knowledge and approval. I never just quit paying her. That has never happened. Also, she says that she rarely received a $200 payment. That is absolutely correct, because I sent her $100 every payday for $200 a month.
I agree with that. I see that.
And so when this all happened, she had already, approved of all of the past payments, whatnot. I wasn't behind at that point. I haven't been behind, I don't believe, for this year, maybe like $100, a couple $100 payments. I don't recall, honestly. I looked at all of that stuff and I just didn't. I have 4 different banks that I would have to go to and get records so that I could show as far back as when the payments were made, because I always did them through the bank. I did make a one cash payment of $100 when the last time we did Cabaret, which was, I don't know, 2 years ago. I don't remember. So it's not going to take another, what'd she say, 4 years, or I don't recall how many years she said it was going to take, but at $200 a month, it will only take 1.6 years. As I indicated in my declaration, which Ms. Quiriconi should have because it was delivered to her home, I indicate that I am filing for bankruptcy. I just finished my home modification. I have to file for bankruptcy, and I was just waiting for my modification to go through. My attorney is Michael Reed in Vancouver. He has told me if she gets a judgment, we have to have it discharged because it will be on the record. And I never wanted to do that. And I've told Jeni that several times. I just now have the money to be able to retain Mike. And the only reason is because I've been saving it up. And I have no intention of not making a payment ever again. And it will be $200 a month. And if I could make more, I most surely will, because yes, I do want this over.
All right. So I am looking at the ledger and I do agree. She does make $100 payments, but they do happen usually. There have been some sporadic moments, but I will say Usually there are 2 payments a month of 100 each. Is that what you see as well, Ms. Quiriconi? Because I do see that they're, pursuant to your promissory note, it only says that, $200 a month. That's essentially what the verbiage says.
I do not have the finely detailed document with me.
Okay.
There are periods when she skipped payments for 6 months at a time. I apologize. I didn't realize that I did, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Blevins, are you aware that there was a deadline date when this needed to be repaid by?
No.
Okay.
As I said in my declaration, my responsive declaration, my sister and I had just been discussing my pending foreclosure.
Mhm.
And actually, I don't know I think it was to that point. I'm not sure. I honestly don't remember, but my sister and I were in my home and we were discussing that, and she knocked at the door and I was like, well, hey, come in. And, I was visibly upset, and she asked, why? And I told her, and she instantly said, do you want me to lend you the money? And I was like, oh my God, where did you come from? Where did you come from? It was like an angel was put on my doorstep, and I that's how I've always thought of her. And I've done the best I could. I've done the best I could through COVID. I had 2 sets of families living with me throughout that whole thing, and I paid every $400 electricity bill, every $300 water bill, all of their rent. I paid everything. I couldn't. There were times when I couldn't do it, and again, it was with her approval. I didn't just stop willy-nilly. That never happened.
All right, Ms. Quiriconi, if you have anything additional to add.
Yes, Your Honor. I brought with me and dropped off at the court earlier today, realizing that it was possible that additional documents. So I mentioned that I went through old phones and hard drives and things. I found a text message from 2022 when I notified her of a skipped payment and that I expected her next 3 payments, October, November, and December, on the 10th. And then I asked her to acknowledge, and she responded, you'll get your payments when I pay them. In October of 2022, I reminded her that we had a promissory note, and she threatened bankruptcy. She's been threatening bankruptcy for years, Your Honor. I do not know if she's telling the truth now about filing bankruptcy or not. I have reminded her that she is supposed to be keeping records so that we can compare. I have, I found where I texted her. This is a picture of what I would send her when she would send me a payment. I would write on there again how much was going to each time. And I was pretty much ready to offer her a better payment deal this in early 2024. And then she skipped another payment. So I decided not to. And I decided after just waiting and asking again for payments on time to proceed with this, because it seemed like she was never going to catch up to where she could follow through with paying me off, that she would drag this out for years.
Yes, you have how much is supposed to be paid a month. Yes, you have a late interest fee, but you don't have this must be paid within 10 years. This must be paid within 5 years. I keep asking everyone, I'm like, where's the deadline? I think that's why the defendant is just paying as she is paying and accruing interest fees, because there is no deadline. to it. So, I mean, yes, I agree that there is an amount that's owed. Do you agree that, Ms. Blevins? I mean, I think
Yes,
that's pretty
absolutely. And
straightforward. That's
absolutely. And I don't necessarily dispute the amount. I mean, I would like to sit down and look through everything, and compare my records with hers. But as I said, I didn't have time to get all of those records from my financial institution. So, and that's why my response was that I could give you all kinds of excuses, but I'm not going to.
yeah, because I mean, at this point, I don't think it's at dispute. We all agree that the amount is owed. We all also agree that there's no deadline to when the amount was supposed to be paid. So, I mean, I can enter a judgment, but the judgment would just entail that you get essentially what's in this promissory note of $200 a month. Right? That would be the garnished wages.
So I should drop my case and pray that this woman doesn't further rip me off.
No, I can enter a judgment. I can enter a judgment and you can obtain that money. I mean, we're not arguing that you are in the right, that you are owed that money. We are just saying that after a judgment is entered, not only does Ms. Blevins have 30 days to appeal this decision if she wanted to, but if she didn't, and then you could go through the processes that you wanted to, but then also there is, the chance that if she is going through a bankruptcy procedure, that this judgment does get clumped into it. I understand your frustration. Believe me, I do. But my hands are tied. I will gladly enter a judgment for you. It just is going to be a secondary promissory note.
Your Honor, are you willing to act as mediator for the rest of this hearing to avoid a judgment against the client with her promise that she will continue to pay?
That would have been probably something to maybe consider before this. And I also see that in your promissory note, it says that legal fees would be paid by her. So if anyone, yes, go ahead, Ms. Quiriconi.
She's still using the address of the house that she got the loan on her checks. I had to skip trace her. I had to pay somebody to find her. I didn't know where she was. She never kept me updated on her address in any way, shape, or form. And it almost looks like she's trying to hide where she lives by still using that old address.
Are you guys not living across the street from each other still?
No, I bought my parents' estate.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if that's all the information, I will go ahead and enter a judgment in Ms. Quiriconi's behalf for the amount owing, which would be the amount that you stated of $4,792. Because I don't think that is anything that is being contested. I think that is exactly as you stated. So Ms. Quiriconi, I will go ahead and award that amount to you. There's a $35 filing fee for paperwork, a 9% post-judgment interest rate. And then how much did you pay to serve Ms. Blevins?
I believe you have a copy of the receipt there. It was $175 in total.
$175. Okay.
Yes.
Why do we have a certified mail receipt and a greyhoundlegal.com receipt? How many times did you serve Ms. Blevins?
The original time was up to an address in Lacey that I found, and they tried to serve there a number of times. Then they skip traced her to wherever they served her at. I'm not sure what the address is.
It is a little bit difficult for me because it's not like Ms. Quiriconi, you're coming here and you're like, hey, this promissory note expired,
Right.
a year ago. She owes me all this money. She's still making payments on a promissory note that is open-ended. So I can enter a judgment because, Ms. Blevins, you're not contesting anything. But the thing is, you'll just still set up a payment plan with Ms. Quiriconi. So there would be no difference essentially in the promissory note.
Okay. Big, huge letter. So-and-so owes me 11,000 blah, blah, blah dollars. I would like her to refrain from doing that to me if we could do that.
That has nothing to do with you. And I will not do that to you.
Um, that is outside of my jurisdiction for today's small
Sure.
claim trial. If there is an issue with her putting something in Windows that does directly relate to you, that can be, addressed through an anti-harassment order, a restraining order. That would be something that you would need to process through a different avenue
Okay.
than through me. So service fee, $175. So I will go ahead and award to the plaintiff 4,000. So let me go ahead and do this. So the remainder of $4,792.12 plus $35 for the filing fee and then $175 for the service. So $5,002.12. That is to be worked out between you two for repayment. So
Mediation service here in town.
absolutely, whatever would hopefully resolve this for both of you. I'm sure both of you would like to reach a point where you're no longer having to deal with this between both of you.
Yeah.
True.
All right, so based on this information, I will go ahead and find the value of the principal for the plaintiff, $4,792.12. That is what is outstanding on this promissory note. I will add the $35 filing fee for this, the small claims forms. I will award the $175 service fee for the plaintiff as well in this matter. And total judgment's $5,002.12. And that's pretty much it. You, Miss Blevins,
Yes.
have 30 days from today to appeal this decision. To appeal it, you do have to file a filing fee, and then after that, it will go to Superior Court. And in Superior Court, they will be able to review all the testimony provided today, as well as review the exhibits that have been presented by Miss Quiriconi. At this time, I do find that I have reviewed today's exhibits and I'm adopting and accepting them as exhibits in this matter. These would only be the exhibits that were provided in a timely manner that both plaintiff and defendant had the time to review, and such any exhibits that have been submitted. What was it? Excuse me. Was it yesterday or today? Today, are not being accepted into evidence as this matter. In this matter. So both of you will receive a copy of this. And while I would have hoped that both of you could have just maybe amicably resolved this without this, I hope that Ms. Quiriconi, this provides you some relief that you now have a judgment. So I hope that you guys resolve this matter shortly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you. Your
Time.
get your
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me, and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.